Welcome back to Keep On Rollin'. I'm your DM Joey, and today we're going to be continuing on our recap of the journey of the Pearl Jam pirates. Today we'll see them fractured, damaged, and journeying the Northern Sea in two separate parties. Today we'll take a look at their race for the Mantle. Seconds after teleporting back to Dodosia with Savathun, Darien rushed off to see his father. Upon seeing his injuries, it became quite clear that it was the hellfire that Thrawn used against him from Poker's body that spread. That all combined with his refusal for treatment is what brought about his father's end. Savathun called all the leaders of all the Dodosian isles and provinces for an official coronation, during which Darien tasked his new cabinet, Winton Kresh, Elwood Lewis, Parfu Rogzal, and Savathun with their various efforts, officially asking Dodosia's allies that Darien had made through his journey with the Pearl Jam pirates for military aid. Before the party had a chance to fully process Darien's betrayal, Geribald, the man who had organized their first mission on Arcadia, called them, saying to get away from Kelmsley. After docking with Geribald's ship, they received a newspaper showing that Darien's impassioned speech in his coronation included claiming that he would lead a war against Poker's home island, Acheron, for Thrawn's transgressions against Dodosia. That night, Marshal John and Big Man left to find Darien. Big Man intended to try and get through to him and turn him back to the good side, but unbeknownst to him, John had no intention to talk to him. He thinks that Darien needs to die. In the morning, Geribald used the secret passages through the world borders to take the remaining party to the Northern Sea. In order to protect the Mantle of Heroes from being fully unlocked by Darien, they need to get the 4 shards of heroes, starting with Kazuki's home, the Soonotropic. The same morning, Darien left for Gibraltar alongside Elwood and Parfu, leaving Savathun and Winton to take care of matters on Dodosia. Along the way, he stopped at Lucia to commission a fleet of ships from Old Dan and bring the now powerless Lex aboard so that he may share his experience with time magic so Darien could prepare for a battle against Darrow. As the Soonotropic came within view, Admiral Lucian boarded the SS Floeven. It was a long and hard-fought battle, but eventually they managed to take him out with a spectacular level of overkill. On the Soonotropic proper, Kazuki met with his old friends, including the brother who had betrayed him. He was in the midst of a plan to acquire the Tropic's Shard of Heroes for himself. Kazuki, Darrow, and Maynard managed to defeat him and gained their very first shard, letting Geribald attempt to invite the Tropic into the Revolutionary Army. The Pearl Jam pirates next traveled to Nereus, being confronted with and making quick work of Admiral Vespera. As they landed, the sea of wizard towers parted as Cassius invited them to Darrow's wizard school. On the way, they saw the ghosts of Darrow's past lay bare as they approached the tower, only for time to revert back 15 years to the night of Cassius's disappearance, and further ghosts from his past to attack. Darrow surrendered himself to the revived guards, only for them to disintegrate before his very eyes. Cassius finally showed himself, showing Darrow scenes of him teleporting through time and how he had absorbed the Shard of Heroes far too young, causing his current predicament. He also showed him making his deal with Thrawn before attacking. As he and Cassius traded spells, Darrow felt a tether begin to form between his magical energy and the shard within Cassius. And after taking a few hits, Cassius paused time to take a break and start monologuing, for lack of a better term. Through this stopped time, Darrow powered through and took the shard for himself. Darrow and Cassius were sent careening through time, space, and other dimensions as an older version of Cassius remained in the present past to combat Maynard and Kazuki. Through a long and honest conversation, Cassius was ultimately convinced to make amends with Darrow in the nebulous space between dimensions. They both returned to the night of Cassius's disappearance, bringing the fight back to the present, although Darrow wasn't quite used to this level of power and accidentally ended up skipping 2 weeks into the future. Darien stopped at Fogton on his way to Gibraltar to bring Gallagher Van Patten along for his potion knowledge to help create medicine on Dodosia. Gallagher Van Patten being the man who created the magical tethers for them when they entered the belly of the Alta Kraken. As Darien arrived on Gibraltar, he saw a massive Navy ship on the port, and from it came Admiral Dante. Although it took a lot out of him, Darien managed to take him out, throwing his unconscious body into the ocean before taking his first steps into Gibraltar since his final moments in the Firecry Guild. Darien and his crew trekked through the forest of monsters, and as they exited the forest ring, they saw 2 Firecry Guild members. Shocked to see their former member Darien before them, They led him to the capital, to the castle, and left Darien shocked in front of his thought-to-be-dead wife, Katerina. After a long chat, Katerina feigned hate towards Darien so that she could get close enough to tell him that the world government is controlled really by just one man, Shimon Attard. She tried to tell Darien without her captors hearing, but she wasn't quite quiet enough, as a member of her guard attempted to assassinate her. Darien kept her safe and dispatched her would-be assassin. After explaining to Katerina what his time with the Firecry Guild was like, Katerina realized how mistaken she was to trust her life and the Gibraltar Shard of Heroes to Clavos as he stepped down into the throne room. Darien and Clavos duked it out. From rapier to greatsword, Clavos gave it all he had, very nearly killing Darien, but it wasn't enough. Clavos went down, and he gave Darien his final words. Darien embraced Katerina one final time before injecting her with poison, killing her instantly. Darien stepped out of the castle, shard in hand. As the late queen's husband, Darien stakes his claim to the throne as the new king of Gibraltar. He makes preparations for the combined armies of Gibraltar and Dodosia to raise Acheron in one fell swoop. Southland ceased all trade with the world government, cutting them off from Dodosia's metal reserves and completing a long ritual to teleport all of Dodosia's remaining forces alongside the new Gibraltar warriors to Acheron. And as all the soldiers shuffled into place, the war began. Darien led the charge, and the forest surrounding Acheron's main city was burned down, creating a forced confrontation. As the battle raged on, the elven hunters were pushed back, and with their backs against the wall, Thrarn joined the battle. In the end, it all came down to Darien and Thrarn, and although he bested death once before, Darien struck a killing blow against Thrarn, and he will terrorize this era no longer. This event turned the elven demon hunters into refugees, as the fire ravaged the island and Acheron is rendered completely uninhabitable for the unforeseeable future. The injuries that Thrarn's fire afflicted Darien with took him out of commission for the next 13 days. During these 13 days, Cassius and Darrow arrive back in the present, teaming up to tear open reality and erase the still volatile, older version of Cassius. Simultaneously, a past version of Cassius teleported into this very moment. It was the first time Cassius ever teleported away, and the first thing he ever saw after having been Darrow's student for years and having spoke to him just moments ago was Darrow raining hell on his older self, unaware that he would go on to fuel the majority of that attack. Geribald called the party once more, revealing that Darrow's unfamiliarity with this level of power made him imprecise, and they had come back to the present 2 weeks after their arrival on Nereus, missing Darien's entire conquest in the north. Geribald informs them of Darien's deeds and of the mechanism that will allow them to confront Darien and stop him from gaining the mantle. After the deaths of all the admiral-level officers, save for the Fleet Admiral Tiberius, the Navy needs to gain new Ceres Arts users to fill their roles. As the Mantle of Heroes grants the Ceres Arts, the way into World's End, the island that holds the mantle, will be open. Darien will probably make his final grab for the mantle on the day that the gate is opened, and the Pearl Jam pirates go their separate ways to prepare for their final battle. Darien then awoke on Dodosia with magical scars that will require attention for the rest of his life. He found out about the Pearl Jam pirates recovering the other 2 shards, and he spent the rest of his days leading up to their ultimate confrontation, training and showing face. After 2 months of training, with only 1 month left before their final battle, both parties found themselves on the way to an introductory masquerade ball where the world government intended on bending the knee to Darien behind the scenes while keeping the illusion of control in front of them. Magnus Ewart took the stage to announce his status as the new warden of LaLance before being stabbed in the heart by a draconic-looking Darien Ironborn. Darien made an impassioned speech about how Kingslave is the country that stood by and watched Dodosia burn. They refused to intervene as the portal to hell was opened, his speech culminating with the execution of Ludwig Fedman, the leader of Kingslave at the time. Just then, Marshal John appeared from a rift in reality after training with the Oathbreaker Knight and regaining his Paladin Vengeance Oath to defeat Darien Ironborn. He grabbed him by the arm and leapt through the roof to finish what he started. Before John took him up to the roof, Darien sicked his soldiers on all the island leaders who were present at the ball, who managed to protect themselves alongside the Pearl Jam pirates. After the battle, John fell lifeless from the hole in the roof. Kazuki caught him, but it was far too late, and as Kazuki had a searing exchange with Darien, John passed away in his arms. Darien teleported away, and the Pearl Jam pirates, more ready than ever to do what needs to be done, mentally prepare themselves for the final battle. Just to be clear, whoever wins the final battle was not predetermined. If Darien wins, Ruund will be in serious trouble. I had a full speech prepared for both possibilities and everything. Yes, the final session was already played, but who won? Who survived? That's for you to find out next time when we cover the finale of the Pearl Jam Pirates.